All right. So, if you guys are watching this, then this is my stream. This is gonna be my first stream ever. So, um, testing, 1, 2, 3. So I'm just gonna be playing just to test certain things out before I do the real gameplay here. Um, yeah. Breath of fire. Press start button. Uh, nothing. Because I fucking died in my first game. And I didn't know that I was not saving. This is my first time in Twitch. So I didn't know that my entire 1 hour stream, because it never really happened, let me just say, I streamed for like 3 hours. But in the end, I had a game over. It fucking sucks because I was getting the hang of it. I um I was trying to really get into the groove because I normally just don't talk to myself streaming. This is a very lonely kind of activity. You know what? It helps because it feels like you're doing a self-diary of things. And I just I think I'm gonna do this for my mental health. I think talking to myself is really productive. It helps me really probably use words more. And at the same time, I might just um, be a better person. Who knows? You know what? Fuck it. If there's gonna be anything that's gonna come out of this, it would be probably a salary deduction for not really working. My real job, that is. So let's just enjoy and see where we're going. Still, how far I've been in my first playthrough was I reached the town of Sarai, and that's what I'm gonna do now. I think I'm gonna just speed things up here because I did a lot of uh, exploring. I was trying to understand the mechanics of this game. Being born at the same time that this got well, who am I lying? I was born way before this got released. This game was released in 2000. So, I was born in the 80s and just playing this game for the first time after a long time feels like a reintroduction, right? It feels like I'm reuniting with a lost love. Um, do I love this game? Yes, I'd like to say I love this game. Do I stand for it? No, not as much as Terranigma. I really would like to do a Terranigma Let's Play, but I don't know. Um, Terranigma is really a comfort game for me. Um, I might end up just looking at walkthroughs because those games are really sometimes confusing. I get stuck in a loop, and I don't want to spend most of my time, my free time, well, the time that I spent not working, as a filler for doing something more productive. Watching anime, perhaps. Uh, Being a lazy bastard might just be a good thing. So the sandworm from June just wrecked my little boat, my sand boat. just like my shoes. Oh me, oh my, what are we gonna do? So, long story short, everyone, because it's such a fresh memory in my head. Basically, they're gonna look for spare parts. And Cray, this guy right here, doesn't really like the idea of leaving their little sand flyer here out in the open, or else it's gonna get stolen. So Nina then volunteers to, hey, I want to be a big brave girl. I want to go to Sarai by myself and find the parts while you stay here and guard the sand flyer with your life. So Cray insisted that, hey, don't be a dumb bitch. Go to the town while getting this sword. Um, and it's an iron sword, I believe. Yeah, I can't live my whole life with you looking out for me. So yes, another thing is that they're looking for her sister, Sarai to the south of here. Yep. Let's Speedy Gonzalez out of here. King Sword. Better safe than sorry. So let's go. Bye. Safe trip, Nina. Um, One of the things that I failed to do is really just explore everything, see what I've missed. And I'm kind of used to the whole button remapping of this controller that I have. Somebody, somebody help me. hmm Well, never really needed any help. So a big crater has formed in the middle of nowhere. Nina slides down, not injured, thank heavens, etc., etc. And then she meets an otherworldly being, a friend of Arnold's, a little predator. But then we get to see that it's not, and lo and behold, it's a little dragon. It's fierce, it's fire, it's big, and it's dark. Not something that you'd like to have in a little slumber party in the casting couch. It's not a monster, but it's not a friend. So, fly, fly, fly. I really like the small details, like just the wind, the skirt billowing in the wind. And here we have Ryu. And oh my God, I wish if I were to have really taken this seriously, I would have changed my name to TP. Um, but here we are. So I think this might just be a good time to end the pilot stream because I'm just gonna see the playback of this and see whatever settings I need to change up because I can't really hear what's happening on the other side where you're all watching this. So, mm, you know what? Um, Better yet, I'm just gonna leave him as Rio. Yes, I'm from India. What's your name? You know what? I'm just gonna let go. No need to just restart everything just because of a freaking name. So throw in the rope, let me climb out, let's be happy, hunky dory, and get out of here. Where you headed? I don't know. Mm-hmm. Right. Let's go, let's go. Before anything else, let me just save in case I screw myself over yet again. Huh. You know, I used to play this in a different emulator like decades ago. It wasn't the best. A lot of like elements are missing. It almost feels like you're playing on dev mode. Um, and some of the text wouldn't really show up. So that was a really um, experimental thing that they put out before. But it did the job. Like back then when like computers didn't really have like gigabytes worth of memory or video processing for the video cards. It was all like 256 MB and 512 stuff that um, it made things a little bit hard to fully immerse yourself in the game. But that's what you get for pirating stuff, because you're poor. So let's go on ahead and just attack, attack, attack. I need this guy to just use one of his special skills. Oh, come on. Let me see what the day brings. I do not have time for this. And I don't think there's really a big need to save up on the AP. This is just not a lot of action at this part until I reach the town of Sarai. But um, one of my big regrets here is that I didn't do my due diligence in finding chests. So I don't know if I left some boon. Hmm. Let's guard and attack. And the reason why I keep guarding is that in the town of Sarai, there's like this puppeteer that tells you like what to do, how to learn, what you need to learn in this game. And she basically said that if the enemy uses a skill and I'm guarding, I could basically, I will have the chance to learn one of the skills. So if it's, I'd like to think that if it's aligned to my, perhaps if there's some sort of element factor here, if I were to look at my status, um, doesn't really tell me much if I do have the affinity for like wind or fire and such. But I'd like to believe that the skills that you learn from guarding are really based off of the your affinity. So if you get hit with fire, you guard. you might have a better chance in learning. So for this Aigu, I'm just having Nina guard because I don't think she's gonna learn any fire skills. But at the same time, I might just be aiming at the wrong enemy. What I'm really looking for is the Mage Goo. I think that's the one that has like the skills. And how did I screw myself over? How do I get that? I I I need to know. I need to know. I what do I do? How can I get myself um perhaps it's later in the game. Those things normally happen. So I'm s- I was at a point where I could have Ryu transform, but I don't think that's the case at this point. I think I need to finish that little side quest or more like a side story of Emperor Folu, his counterpart. How do I know this, you ask? You, you have to you have to remind yourself that this is a game that was released like 2 decades ago, so although I may have played this back in the heyday, a lot of things are really, really foggy for me. So I just with every Breath of Fire series, you have like Ryu and Nina, Nina from Windia and Ryu from whatever God knows where he comes from. So um and I also know that Folu is like his other half. It's not a big spoiler, just like telling everyone else that the Titanic's gonna sink in the movie. Mm, it doesn't affect anyone. But what I'm here for is the gameplay. If I were to join in some sort of trivia competition about like Breath of Fire 4, will I be able to answer one single question? If it comes to the main characters, yeah, maybe. And I'm just limited to Ryu, Nina, and Cray. Everyone else, it might not be a good night for everyone else at the bar. Um, jump. Surprise, surprise, Ryu. I feel like one of those returners in the animes because I have clearly screwed up in my first gameplay. I know what exactly is gonna happen next. So just like this, she flies. The wings aren't cosmetic. I'm sorry I didn't tell you about my wings. Yada yada yada. Ryu's not the smartest person, generally. Well, you know what? If he didn't know anything about the world and he sees some chick with wings, perhaps it might be one of those uwu girls that like to dress up, but the concept's not really there. Tu. And I really like the background music. I think they have a really good OST. It's very calming. So what ends up happening is that they end up finding a good spot. They set up camp, and she kind of talks about a little bit about her situation to Ryu, which Ryu, of course, doesn't really say anything. Much like a lot of main characters um, that had franchises back in the Super Nintendo days, we have like Chrono, we have like other heroes in RPGs back in those consoles that never really say anything. I would like to believe that it's because they want the players to have this opportunity to have a little role play in their brains. kind of fantasize what your dialogue would be. Baba boom. Here we have Folu, and um, I do know that the Q isn't really considered Ku, um, because this guy's name is Juan Ku, but I like to believe it's Juan Chu. Won't you agree with me? Kill me now? You could just drop off of this subscription. Just find another stream. Enjoy. Have a great night. Thank you. And I'm just gonna be playing here and just filling everyone in. So what happens is that he comes out of his little resting place, and him and his little guard, this um, creature of sorts, they were expecting a welcoming party, but nobody comes to welcome the old Emperor Folu. And he's going out to decide whether he's going to exterminate the entire human race or just find out what's really happening. So for this section, I would like to check for any chests. See if I missed anything. Of course, I see that um, one sticking out on the top floor, but I may be missing something here. Okay, Ambrosia's good. So Ambrosia um, is basically a healing item for your dragon form, and we're gonna see that in a bit. Um, I do not want to go into dragon form early on. Probably when I fight that little general guy much later in this scene here. Fuck. Up again. I have my Zana, and I'm gonna look for this one item that's here. Wisdom fruit. Yeah, yeah. So context is that they're asking, Halt, who goes there? Hi, I'm Folu. Who you? I am this dude just really looking down on humans, and these guys are just stationed here because they're waiting for the dragon to awaken. Little did they know that they could take human forms just like our our guy Folu here. So what you may notice is that from the dragon in the beginning with the dark toned skin, out comes Folu's avatar of sorts, this guy, which is the white variant. Now, initially, because everything was so muddled in my first game through, or well, playthrough with the game, that I initially thought that the black dragon that was from the crater in the desert was Folu, because they have the same palette, like some sort of purplish and red and whites. But then I was mistaken when I got to this exact point in the game where he does show his like um, dragon familiar or dragon form. And it's not just the wings, but then he blasts out like this major kaiju beam that just like, I don't know, just fucks everyone up. Like how it charges and how it just, you'd think that the entire forest is gonna get destroyed, but the area or the scale of the damage, well, we'll see later on. Okay, so Ryu wakes up from what seems to be a nightmare, and they proceed. So the whole pew pew action just made a small crater right here. Let's go, let's go. So deeper into the forest. Pew, pew. Attack. Zana. Give me the Zana. Um, yes, a flower bed of sorts, but are there any items? No, nothing. I will have to fight another Zarus again and collect my Zana. Y'all. Zana. Hmm? What's that? Okay. Doesn't matter, because I'm gonna fuck you up right here and get my Zana. I wish all of the money that I'm gaining from like this whole sequence would be transferred to Ryu, but well, I know that's not gonna happen. I am looking for items. I'm looking for stuff. And you know what? It doesn't really matter at this phase. I could just like really escape. This entire sequence of Folu, there's really no merit I could think of with just like him being leveled up this early. This guy's pretty leveled up um, with like an HP of thousands and you have like APs of hundreds. Yeah, you know, you have a good idea that they're setting this guy up to be really strong just so that you could meet him mid-game, maybe later on. I do know that, well, spoiler alert, he's also the bad guy, so you're playing the bad guy. Um, but everything's really foggy. How he became. I do know that you have to buy into him to his storyline. He has to do some redeemable acts. I don't know what those were, and I'm really interested in rediscovering that for myself. Just really falling in love with this game all over again. So does this little Kamehameha, and I get to fight the demon, which is calm. I'm not gonna joke around here, so I'm just gonna change into my Dragon Astral. And in my first playthrough, is really trying to figure out what are the better skills to use against this guy, because every attack that I have kind of is similar to just Folu using his sword, his regular attack, and some of the skills end up being much weaker, just really 3 digits instead of your 4. What I did find out, because I have a big brain, is that I would be using elements opposite to what I would make assumptions for would be his affinity. So this guy's like a fire demon. So just a few more hits of the Frost Fist, I believe, Frost Strike, we're really good to go. But there was this one skill that I wasn't able to test out, and I hope that they give me a chance to just screw this guy over on the next round. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, no threat, because as you can see, the damage is really insignificant. I'm just gonna choose death. Give him a little taste of what happens on the other side, what happens to old people, and say your prayers. Hmm. Oh, okay. A little bit of pew pew, and I think one more hit with the frost strike, and he's really down for the count. He's dead. Is there a way to skip cutscenes? I mean, I've been in this place for, just revisiting it again and again. So this guy, right, knew Folu was gonna arrive or just resurrect. And the irony is that he's from the Folu Empire, named after a guy here. And um, Folu, the character that we're controlling now, is really talking about some sort of promise that needs to be fulfilled. But the Folu Empire, or we'll just call it the Empire, wouldn't want any of that. And they're just um, taking a detour with their agreement, an unfavorable one. So he slinks into the darkness while the rest try to scurry and catch up to our guy here. Okay, it's time for some pew pew. Pew pew action. Let's see if we get to killing folks with our swords. I'm just gonna get the super vitamin that's here, and I'm really good to go. Uh, Wrong route. Am I missing anything? Nope. Here we're introduced to the general again, but now with a name. So it's just calling him out that you're weak against fire. Yom. Okay, so Yom, the general of the Folu Imperial Army at your service. And we're back to being Ryu. And off to Sarai. So the interesting thing about this area is that it gives me the opportunity to learn some skills. Well, except for these guys, because they're absolutely useless. They have this like attack called distraction, where they just stare out into space. So no use to me. So let's just get rid of them, see what's happening. Um, and at this point, Ryu now has a new ability that's similar to Folu's. Well, to be technical about it, it's exactly like Folu's, where he gets to transform into his hybrid demon or hybrid dragon form. Yep, the cap is guarding, but that doesn't matter anyway. So I'm gonna get my Zana and my levels. So unlike Folu, that whole Folu sequence, the money that I get here is pretty uninspiring. But just the idea of grinding and seeing where you could go, just collect, at least you're not really spoiling yourself with so much money early on in the game because the equipment in like your starter town is normally pretty mediocre, but very useful at this part of the game. I didn't get the chance to check out some shops before I died in my first playthrough. Um, but I think it might be good to just have some Zane ready. But the real prize in this little um, chasm here is fighting something called a mage goo, a mage slime. So I'm really ready to just learn some of the skills of the mage slime, which is just I believe it was just fire, and I need Ryu to get like another skill apart from just transforming. Perhaps maybe 3 or 4 more battles if ever I don't see a red or a mage goo anywhere um, during those 4. Okay, you know what? I spoke too soon. So I'm just gonna kill this Aigu here because it doesn't really add any value to my life. Now that we have Burn, yeah, just um, suffer the consequences of learning. We're gonna have her guard and have him guard and see what's gonna happen if he's gonna do Burn. I am surprised. Nina was the one that learned Burn. It is of no consequence that Nina gets burned. We're gonna drop her off in Sarai anyway. So now that we've got what we needed, I'm just gonna open up the fishing spot. There's really nothing we could do there at this time because I don't have the fishing equipment. So in place of just like Geez. I wish it. Okay, hopefully we could find those middle spots again, just so that we could find out what enemies we could learn from. Maybe it's something else, maybe it's the same. Let's see what happens. Definitely the same. Nothing interesting. But maybe I'm speaking out of turn. Maybe my impatience is just getting into the way of me just being graceful that with the playthrough that I'm doing right now, it's much smoother than my first one where it's just like, hey, ooh, what's this? It's shiny. I sound like such a pro gamer at this point, but it's all a big lie. Only because I've played through this up until Sarai. But once we're done, um, once we reach Sarai, I don't think this tone that you're hearing, this confident tone, and yes, this is as confident as I could get at this point. It's all gonna be desequenced. I'm just gonna, my confidence would just be leaving this planet. It's not gonna be seen anywhere. I might just end up stuttering. What do we do? Um, Always good to check your surroundings. Get into trouble. This looks promising. This definitely looks promising. So I'm just gonna sever his head and guard. So I just want to weaken him. Um, Before I think this is the guy that killed me on my last playthrough, so not really taking too many chances. I do have Crocodile Tears, which kind of gives me like 20 HP worth of healing. So I feel safer. I feel like I could I could face my fears at this point. And I do have a question. Whenever it turns red, does that mean I'm screwed? Oh, okay, never mind. Caught me by surprise. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just kill him. Get my sana. Maybe just level up Ryu just once. And I think I could just spare myself into buying potions in the next town. Hmm. Just to make sure. Should be level 5. Okay, I completely forgot. Um, this game doesn't restore your health or your ability points when you level up. So now that we reach into Sarai, Nina's gonna do a little bit of shopping while I'm left to just wander around to hopefully, quote unquote, regain my memories. But of course, it's still like a blank slate, so I'm gonna give
give the right dialogue to just say like, hey, yeah, sure, I'm just gonna stay here and like walk around, see if it's good. You know what? Just mind your own business. I will. Um. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. This is the girl that I learned the whole guard thing. That I could learn skills from guarding. And what are you doing here? Am I able to save inside a town, or is there some? Okay, there's definitely some sort of inn that I could just do a quick save. I've got money. Uh-huh. Oh, it's that guy from the uh please save me. And he had like this bird. Uh Read the instructions. Yes. Giving him food and drink. Give him food and drink. Just happy parameters. Give him okay. Mhm. Let his food and drink gauge fill up before his happy gauge. His happy gauge won't go up if you give him the same things. No. So, square is the steak, and here is wine. Uh-huh. No, I'm just alternating through the buttons here, and it seems it doesn't have that much of an impact um, with my money. Fravian, he can tell you what you're looking for. I just saw this like YouTube short where they pronounce it's like with panacea. There's this guy who's like trying to oh sorry, I'm just a little bit distracted. I just love like that short that just kept. There's this one dude in a party that kept pronouncing the word panacea as panacea, and the other guy's like, "What the fuck are you on? I mean, it's not panacea, it's panacea." But it really stuck. If only like I thought of it first, I would be using panacea the entire time. But what the hell? Nobody's really watching this. I'm gonna call it panacea. Um, okay, there's a ceasefire, there's a war. That's probably the whole reason why. In the midst of everything, that the princess, Nina, spoilers, is looking for her sister. And maybe the whole ceasefire is making it possible for her to just travel and just probably escape the castle. Um, mhm. Okay. I need sandflyer parts. Yes. Yes. Uh-huh. No. So I'm gonna go with 90. How about 80? I think it was just 150, but I gave him 20 more. Feels like it because you don't really earn much with the random counters here. It's just like 30 Sane. Behind the tavern, you have to find out the password to be able to meet him, but most of the traveling merchants will tell you if you ask them. I just saw one leave. I imagine he's probably still close by. Highway outside of town and try to get the password. Um, let's check out the inn first and see what's up. Normally, I'm I might be in over my head, but for inns, there's normally a chest where I could just raid stuff and probably like loot whatever's. No matter how trivial the items are, whether it's a potion or something else, or a panacea, um, teach you the password. Yeah. And everything matters at this point. You're still at your starter town. Your level doesn't mean squat. And I think I'm gonna do the just save. And for my pilot stream, I think this is where I'm gonna jump off. And thank you, everyone, and have a great day. Thanks for joining me. Bye.